everyone, it's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to Mornings with 60 and Me. Today is Friday, November the 4th. So welcome to Friday. How are you doing this morning? How's everything going in your world? I'm having my cup of tea here this morning. I've got sweet chai. Sweet chai is lovely. It's a black tea, but it's got all kinds of exotic spices in it. It's really nice. It's one of my favorites. Sometimes I put a bit of milk in my chai. It's only tea really that I add milk in, and it just seems to go together. But if you've been to India, you know what I mean about sweet chai and milk. It's a very traditional drink. But anyway, I hope that you're doing okay. I want to thank everybody who joined our Facebook Live show yesterday, my evening. And it was really wonderful to have so many people jumping in with conversations. Our theme was financial security in retirement. So we talked about a new ebook that we put together called 60 Ways to Make Money After 60. And if you missed that show, you can go up and get that ebook. It's really cool. It's 60 Ideas for Making Money in Retirement. It's just 60andme.com/money. So we talked about that, and there were lots of women having chats and giving ideas. We're going to try to do those Facebook Lives every Thursday, and they're a great way to talk about a topic, kind of brainstorm together. So if you didn't join live, you can go back to the Facebook page and you'll see the post at the time that we did it yesterday. You have to scroll down a little bit, and you'll find all the comments, and you can still give feedback and chime in. So it's a really nice way to share information amongst us. Anyway, so there's a lot going on in the world today, so I'll bring you up to speed, and then we'll talk about a story that I hope inspires you, because we all have questions about our ability to get on with life in our 60s and what to do and make the most of it. And I think this story will inspire you. So let's get through the news first, though. Now, in the UK, there has been a bombshell with regards to Brexit. Remember that the British people voted to leave the European Union. The majority of people voted against it, voted to leave. And new Prime Minister Theresa May is now, working her way through the process. And a very large number, however, also voted to stay in the European Union. So it's been very controversial. Anyway, yesterday, a High Court decided that this trigger for the Brexit process, they call it Article 50, could not happen until Parliament voted. This puts a really interesting twist on the Brexit discussions, because they may very well say, that Britain should stay in the European Union, and that would go against the majority of the people who voted. So it's an interesting development. Some people are breathing a sigh of relief. Others are questioning the democracy of this move. So the government will be appealing to get ahead with the Brexit process. That's in the UK. In Libya, again, always sad news, it seems, from Libya, that hundreds of migrants died yesterday in 2 different shipwrecks. There were boats that left Libya trying to get to Europe, and the boats just collapsed. Maybe too full, maybe the boats were not very sturdy, but over 200 people died, and a lot of them were children, of course, women, and it's a very, very sad situation. Some were rescued, but these situations just seem to be repeating themselves. In France, by the way, just as a related story to migrants, there's been another migrant camp set up in Paris, and there's like 3,000 people there now on around a train station very near the Gare du Nord, which is where people come into the country from the UK, and it's already in my opinion, a very rough area of Paris. But there were hundreds of tents had been set up right in the middle of the city. So they've now found new places for these people to be housed while they make asylum claims if they want to in Paris. So that's another story with regards to the migrant situation in Europe. Very big story, ongoing. In the United States, of course, the 2 candidates are locked in a furious battle as we get to the end of the game here. It's just a few days to go for the election. The Democratic Party is questioning the FBI refusal to provide information on their investigation that they feel is going on with Donald Trump and his relationships with Russia. This is kind of the other story that's going along the thread with the questions about Hillary Clinton's emails. So they're both trying their best to disrupt the last few days of where people are making their decisions. There are a lot of people still undecided. So that's the situation in the US. In South Korea, interesting story here. The South Korean president has said that she will face prosecutors and talk to them about the charges that are being made against her. She has a friend, a very close friend, that she appointed to a high position in her government. And it turns out that this woman is part of a religious cult, and she's kind of a Rasputin kind of character who has this. She does all these sort of interesting ceremonies and has very charismatic powers, and people think that she's been influencing the president in South Korea, and are questioning her that situation. So it's a sort of a corruption scandal, but of a different kind in South Korea. Important country for us. In Iraq, the battle for Mosul continues. Inch by inch, they're making their way into the city. They're in the city center. Well, they're at the outskirts of the city right now. The government forces are slowly moving, really honestly, step by step, because the ISIS soldiers have planted explosives. They are popping up out of tunnels. It's a very urban fighting situation. And of course, the big concern is the people. As the coalition forces are moving in, they're putting people on trucks and getting them out of the city so that they can continue with their journey, with their job. And about 20,000 people now have been removed from Mosul to camps, humanitarian camps outside of the city. So that's ongoing. And they're actually, just this morning, this is not related to Iraq, but it's in Turkey. Just heard this news that there's been a suicide bombing in Turkey in a pro-Kurdish area. This is a suburb. It's in a town called Diyarbakir, and apparently they don't know who did it yet. But yesterday, the ISIS leader, in his message to his troops in Iraq, said attack Turkey, disrupt them, and that's because they're allies. So you can just get the picture in this part of the world. It's really, really volatile. And I said many times, we're a global community, so what happens there really affects the world. And in Venezuela, I want to give you a quick update there. President Maduro, they're trying to oust him and have involved the Vatican, if you remember, in the talks to try to make some progress, but he has actually rejected the opposition request for this deadline on the talks with the Vatican, and has said they're not going to succeed at ousting him. This is their goal, to get him out of office, because Venezuela, which is an important country, it's one of the richest countries in the world in terms of oil, but the people are going through absolute trauma with their economy, and the culture and society is just falling apart, and they claim it's very bad leadership. Want Maduro to go. In France, just to go back to France, I always find these stories interesting in France. They're always doing interesting things. But on Monday, November the 7th, this group called the Feminist Newsletter in France is very powerful, and they have called for women all around France to go on strike at exactly 4:34 p.m. So just a little bit towards the end of the day. They're going to ask all the women to walk out of their jobs. And the message is that they want equality in equal pay. And it turns out that statistics show women in France get 15.1% less than men. I still to this day do not understand how this can happen. It's just, if they're doing the same job, I just don't see any reason. But, traditional, cultural, whatever, this is the situation in France, and women are taking a stand. So that's the good news from France. I don't know how that will play out, but we'll see. Now, I hope this is interesting news to you. I from day to day, I look for things in other parts of the world, but these seem to be the dominant stories, in a way, are shaping our lives right now. And I wanted to now, though, change gears a little bit and talk about something. It was a story I read in The Age of Happiness. Oh, sorry, this is the one. I've got two stories. This is from our blogger, Noelle Nelson. Now, Noelle wrote an article that was really, really cool. It was about a woman called Harriet, I got her name now, Harriet Thompson, and her story is so inspiring. I wanted to share it with you. And the reason that it's an interesting story is that Noelle starts her article by talking about how everybody in the media expects that as you get older, you get more miserable and depressed and unhappy. And, with your situation, you're aging, it's a little profound. But she says that the research recently by the Journal of Clinical Psychology or Psychiatry showed that women, and men over the age of 50 are happier. There was a survey of people 21 to 99, and it turned out that as you get older, you gain this magical thing called wisdom, and you just become more kind of at ease with your situation, with your life, and maybe just don't sweat the small stuff as much, and are able to look at your life through a positive lens, to put the things behind you that you could have done differently. And so the story that Noelle tells is really about this shift in the lens around older people being happier, and in a way being heroes rather than victims. And this is the story that that Harriet Thompson brings to life, is that she had so many challenges in her life, but she really became a hero to herself. She is make sure I get all the details here. She's a former pianist. She lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she began running marathons when she was 76 years old. And she ran these marathons until she was 92. And the last one was in June 2005. And she ran this marathon. She was a cancer survivor, 2 times cancer survivor. She had quite serious problems with her legs, but she put bandages on them, and she just kept running. And in 2005, she won, she placed in this race. It was I forget the marathon name, but it was it was one of these where everybody from all ages was participating, and she just jumped in. And not the coincidence, but the situation was that her husband had also died that year. Her husband of 67 years. And he had died of cancer. So she runs for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and has, over her running career, earned about $100,000 from donations. And it's even more poignant because her son has cancer, and she is now running for her family and all those that are dealing with lymphoma. And you look at her career or her life, and she started running at 76. And she obviously had a lot of challenges, but she probably wouldn't even admit that she was a hero. She would say, "This is just my life. It's what I love to do." But Noelle does a really good job in this story of talking about Harriet as an example of maybe that we can follow. And by the way, I'm not saying we have to all go out and run marathons or do such extreme sport, but there are things that we can do that make us feel like heroes. We've conquered a demon, we've moved forward, and we've stated in no uncertain terms that this is our life, we own it. I think it's really, really cool. So we'll leave the link so that you can go check it out. And the bottom line message is just be the hero of your own story. Be your hero. Now, another story I wanted to share is about one of our funny days. And today, it turns out, is Use Your Common Sense Day. I guess it kind of, in a way, goes with the story about being your hero, because I think to be pushing forward with what you love, you've got to kind of just cut through all the nonsense. And this is a funny story from this site where we get all our funny days features. And it reminds me of this this really funny quote I read once, which says something like, "Just hold my beer for me." And then it says, "Last words that someone says before looking up and seeing a doctor or nurse." The crazy things you do when you have a drink, or the crazy things you do to make a point, or because you're feeling a little, like you have to prove something. And, that these are the things that cause accidents, and, that actually are bad, well, not bad for you as a person, but they just give you unnecessary stress. So this is a time it says to take time to just stop, consider your options, and use your common sense. If something doesn't feel right, you don't think you can do it properly, don't try to prove anything, just use your common sense. And, before you think something's a great idea, just think it through. I just think that's a good thing to remember today. I think as you get older, you become a little more aware of how your actions can create chaos. But anyway, today's a good day to remind your friends and family, use your common sense. So that is our show for today. I hope that these little articles have been fun and they've inspired you. It's Friday. You know, you get ready for the weekend. Have a super day. I mean, I really hope that you do something for you or with your family, friends, neighbors, if you're mentoring or volunteering, if you're working, you know, just have a really fabulous day. And I have a question for you, which I'd like to ask, and leave it in the comments section. We'll have, like we always do, a dialogue about it. And look for other comments, you know, share with others. And let's have a chat. So the question is really, have you ever taken on a challenge in your life when you felt like a hero? I think that'd be really interesting to discover. I know we've done some amazing things in our lives. So do you think you've ever taken on a challenge that has made you feel like a hero? Look forward to your comments and to joining the conversation. And I look forward to seeing you all back here tomorrow on Mornings with 60 and Me. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.